Hello and happy Pride Month to all my fellow LGBTQIA plus folks out there. I'm Emily, aka MHags Art, and in honor of Pride Month and one of my favorite TV shows of all time, this month's theme is Schitt's Creek. So let's get started. So before I explain what I'm drawing, I want to talk about the color palette I chose for this month. Because it's Pride Month, I wanted to do some rainbow colors, obviously. And when I think of the Rose family, I actually think of them wearing a lot of black and white, especially David and Moira. So I combined the rainbow colors of Pride Month with the black and white that I think of with the Rose family. So you'll see that throughout the month. And I think it actually worked out pretty well. I think it kind of ended up being this perfect balance between like colorful and monochrome. I also had this black and white craft paper with roses on it that you'll see me use throughout the spreads. That was a huge inspiration for the whole setup. So I just think it fit this month's theme so perfectly because, you know, roses, the Rose family, yeah, you get it. Anyway, for the cover, I decided to draw these very simple illustrations of Johnny, Moira, David, and Alexis. And I used gray and black markers to color them in to kind of go with that monochrome color scheme I was talking about. And also for the quote page, I'm drawing my first rainbow for this month's spreads. And I wanted it to stand out against the black and white of the rest of the cover page. So I kept the drawing simple by not including their faces, which I feel like is a pretty common style when people draw like popular characters from shows. I feel like it kind of gives it that more graphic-y, illustrative-y style. For this month's quote, since it's Pride Month, I had to include David's line, "I like the wine and not the label," which is such a simple quote, but like as a queer person to hear someone on TV say that was like super important. And I wasn't sure how to decorate the rest of the cover page, so I'm actually going to come back to that once I figure out the aesthetic for the rest of the spreads. Next up is my calendar where I draw this super wonky rainbow, but I tried not to focus on it too much because I'm really practicing not trying to make everything perfect in my bullet journal. And you can see I tried to do this dotted line with rainbow colors next to the headers on the other page, but I hated how it looked, so I colored over them with silver gel pen. And I know how ironic that sounds after I just said I wanted to be less of a perfectionist, but you know, things like that are pretty simple fixes, and I feel like aren't as big of a deal as covering an entire like rainbow drawing, you know. Next, I'm trying something completely different and kind of weird, but I condensed my weeklies into one spread. I just found I wasn't even filling in some days on my weeklies because I don't have much going on right now since it's summer and I'm not in school. So instead of wasting that space, I just made some boxes for a to-do list for the whole week and a space for like work tasks and other events. I also included more Schitt's Creek quotes like the Alexis classic, "Ew, David," and "Fold it in," which is from the episode where Moira tries to teach David how to make enchiladas, and it's probably like one of the funniest scenes in television history, just saying. Next is another quote page. I not only really wanted to include this quote from the show, but I also wanted to include the BIPOC and trans-inclusive pride flag in my setup. So I figured why not combine them into a quote page. So the quote is, "You make me feel right," which Patrick tells David after David finds out that Patrick never really broke off his engagement with his ex. Anyway, the scene is super beautiful and touching, and it makes me cry every time I watch it. As queer people, we spend so much time in our lives thinking that we're broken, so I feel like this scene perfectly captures that, and it's just so impactful and well written and well acted. It's just amazing. Then next to this quote, I have my habit trackers where I cut the border from the rose craft paper, and I just love that touch that it added to it. Finally, it's my mood and gratitude trackers with my monthly review page. I just made a few boxes to write down a few things I'm grateful for over the month. And then I'm going to be using the 1 word a day mood tracker again because I have enjoyed using it for the month of May. For my monthly review, I just write down a few questions to answer. I always enjoy doing this every month. And then to add a little color to these spreads, I use these fine liners to add little rainbows to the headers. Alright, back to the cover page. So now that I kind of figured out how the rest of the month looks, I knew how I wanted to finish decorating these pages. So I used more of the black and white rose craft paper, surprise, surprise. And I added a silver gel pen border to the cover page to kind of match the border that I did on the other quote page. Then I added some washi tape and I just had to do a little trial and error to find the combination I liked. And here is the final flip through. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, comment a rainbow down below so I know you're the real MVP. And if you liked this video, please consider subscribing because all of my themes for this year are based off my favorite TV shows and movies, which has been a lot of fun so far. I've done The Office, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Tangled, so it's been a lot of fun. And new subscribers or any support really means so much to a small YouTuber like me. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a happy Pride Month, and I'll see you in the next one.